the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground, holy ground, holy ground, holy ground.
This is a Spirit Session podcast with Katie Silcox. Venga chicos, empezamos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hi everyone, Katie here. This podcast is intended to inspire you, educate you, and most importantly, support you on your journey towards knowing who you really are, that inner self, that inner teacher. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer professional health or medical advice on this podcast. If you are suffering from any kind of psychological or medical issue, please do the right thing and seek help from your qualified health professional. Hey, beautiful Spirit Session listener. This is your gal, Katie Silcox. This is an epic podcast. I love this. And it also gives any of you that are new listeners and you're not a member in our Spirit Sessions membership, a taste of just how deep we go into the tradition, into the subtle body work, and into our psychology in Spirit Sessions. We are giving you over an hour of my most recent workshop on the heart chakra. The heart chakra is one of the most amazing places in your body, in your being, in your beingness. And I'd love to share it with you totally free. If you're down with it, what is going to happen in the podcast is it's going to end, right? And then I talk a little bit more about the heart chakra, and then we go into some really deep practices for clearing and opening and awakening the heart. And, in these polarized times, I cannot think of anything more important to do than to work with the energy of the heart, to open our heart. Contrary to popular public opinion, being in your heart is the most courageous thing you can do. It brings about grace and strength and impenetrable boundaries. It is beyond not Pollyanna. It is a force field that, in fact, whoever has the biggest heart chakra basically is the most powerful one in the room. So this really is about power. It's about love and it's about connection. And so I'm just so happy to share this with you all. If you love it, I would love to invite you to consider being a member of the Spirit Sessions. We'd love to see your face. We'd love to get to know you. We had an amazing group of people last month, a lot of new faces. What a pleasure. What a joy. There's an amazing community that meets once a month live. And when you join Spirit Sessions, you get my entire compendium of meditations, of lectures, of workshops, of practices that go back 8-9 years. And it's a lot. And guess what? It's ridiculous. It's $28 a month. I really don't consider Spirit Sessions to be like a money-making thing. I consider it to be a community creation thing. And the $28 we charge are basically what we need to keep the podcast running and Spirit Sessions running. So please join us, $28 a month. If you get in and you don't love it, you can always end your membership. So it's really a very small risk. It's probably about what we pay for a couple of lattes these days. And so I really hope to see you there. If you hear this message in the Heart Chakra podcast and you join Spirit Sessions, please hit me up in the chat. Let me know that you found us through this Heart Chakra podcast. I would love to just see you and meet you. And next month, we'll be delving into the chakra of the throat. When you join Spirit Sessions, you will be able to actually access all the months back on every single chakra from the bottom to the top. And so it's a really full, complete workshop. All right, beautiful. I hope you enjoy. Hi, welcome to Spirit Sessions. This is just my favorite place to be. And today is probably my favorite thing to talk about. which is the chakra system. And so if you're brand new, welcome. Every single month, we do a little bit of a review because, as you all know, the chakras are not separate things. They are woven together, they breathe together, they function, they communicate together. And so if you're just joining us today, we are diving into our first class around the heart. And when you join Spirit Sessions, you get access to all the other practices and all the other chakra workshops, as well as all the other workshops we've ever done. So go back, feel free. But the beauty of the energy system is that it's nonlinear. And so you're not behind, you're right on time. The first chakra is a field of energy that is a combination of three things. It is energy, pure, raw, unbridled Shakti. It is the energy that breathes you in and out. It is the energy that is encouraging my dog down here to chew on a bone that smells really disgusting. So I was having some interesting incense. I don't know if any of you have ever smelled a bully stick for a dog. It's pretty much the gnarliest thing in the world. And so I was getting to practice with like letting the smell be in the space of the heart. It's also the energy that causes us very quickly to go into fight, flight, run, jump, freeze, react, freak out. It's the energy of our physical health and vitality and our sexuality and our primal forces of reproduction and, you know, moving from the refrigerator to the bedroom, as one of my teachers used to say. And in this tradition, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it is. And we get to feel into how we can use that energy that's primal and wild. It's the reason we called this place the Shakti School. It's this real honoring of the raw, real, live, immanent energy of the earth and the feminine. And the color is red, right? Blood, fire, lava. And it's the legs and the pelvis that open, that allow us to connect to the mother that's the mama of everybody in this room and all of life. And that's the earth. And it really is our mother. And even on an energetic level, there's this opening. And as we breathe out, the energy comes up and it literally sparks like a pilot light, the root chakra. And so if you feel low energy, or if you feel anxious, it's actually not that you have too much energy, it's that you don't have enough. And so by doing that first practice, those of you that are new, go back and do the root chakra class, because that's that raw, wild, red, primal vitality that really helps counteract what I think is such a malaise of our time, which is that we're all up and out. Right? Like on screens and devices and driving and helping our kids and our dogs and our animals, you know? And so by actually going in and down and finding that innate pulse, then the energy can move. And it's doing this without us trying, but we can augment this. It moves up into the second chakra, which is the space slightly below your belly button, more or less where you have, and you can kind of put your hand there or just feel it intuitively, the biggest curve of your lower back. Your lordotic curve has an indentation point. And that point, both front and back and side to side, is going to be your second chakra. And again, go back and listen if you haven't, but that's our emotional body. First chakra, physical body. Second chakra is our emotional body. And I'm bringing this up because I want to make the distinction today. The second chakra is how you feel about a situation. How you feel about it. And there's nothing wrong with this. And we all do it. That's why you can see me start to smile. How you feel about it and how it affects you. Nobody? Anybody? How I feel about it, because I'm thinking kind of about myself, or very much about myself, or the people that I really, really like. It's like how I feel about it selfishly. And there's nothing wrong with that in the Tantric tradition. But the second chakra's emotions, if we were to liken it to a brain development relationally, this is your young self. And it's selfish. If you have kids, you get it, right? It's like, I'm 2 years old and this is how I feel, mommy. And maybe this is how I'm 18 and this is how I feel about it. Or I'm 54 and this is how I feel about it. But that emotional body connected to the energy of water, actually, when something happens to us and we have that first chakra reaction, the second chakra, water, is the thing that cools the fire. Have you ever been like super reactive? Maybe that reaction is indignation or anger or rage. And then you feel the emotion, and all of the emotions are the watery chakra. And so there's this quality of water dampening the fire of the first chakra, which, by the way, is also warfare. This is I will kill you energy. And so, think about that energy of fight and flight and kill. When we feel the way that affects the world, there's this quality of the emotion dampening the fire. And that's a good thing. And then guess what else happens? It moves upward and you move into the belly, the navel, the solar plexus up there. And that is your mental body. And it's the fire giving off this next element, which is the air element. And this is interesting because some of us just bypass the first chakra and the second chakra when it comes to like our experience, and we just go straight to the third. And this is what you think about a situation. This is the mental body. And some of you are like, and I'm laughing because I see myself in all these examples, right? It's like, I don't want to feel this, but I'm going to analyze this till kingdom come. And I'm going to do a lot of talk therapy, and I'm going to get to understand all my family patterns, and I'm going to tell all my friends about it. And my friends are doing it too. So we're both like really good therapists. And so we're going to talk about this and talk about it and talk about it. And like, we're all laughing because guess what? It's fun, right? And there's this quality of the third chakra and all the chakras really that gives off a certain level of pleasure when you are spinning in the mental body. The mental body is one of the most powerful places to divert yourself from feeling things. Oh, girl, I know. And the third chakra is also what you think about a situation and how it relates to you. And it's okay. And we are all going to do this till the day we die because this is how God made us. Ain't nothing wrong with being a little selfish. It's how we're made, right? But we are made of so many more levels than the first three chakras. From the physical to the emotional, the thought realm takes that water and it now converts it into air. And we're able to have a coherent, when we're healthy, narrative about how we feel about what actually happened in the physical world. And most of us on the planet get really stuck, if we're lucky, in the first three. If we're unlucky, and we get stuck in the first. And the first chakra is pure tribalism. It's polarizing. It's us versus them consciousness. And it says, you are my enemy. The first chakra can be succinctly understood in your life as everything that you run from, that you consider bad and ugly and wrong and push away. This is the realm in the Buddhist Tantra of aversion. And if you want to just teach it to your 2-year-old, this is the realm of, ooh, yuck. And I kind of need it to be that level sometimes, don't we? The second chakra, we come up a little higher. This is now the opposite of yuck is what? Yum. This is everything I like. And I like it for me. And I want to hold on to it. And the second chakra is the realm of attachments, emotions, attachments, mama energy. Don't take my baby. I always tell that story, and she always comes to my mind. My neighbor in Oakland, California, had like 400 teddy bears on her bed. And that kind of encompasses the energy of an overactive second chakra that hasn't been digested with the other 7. right? It's everything in my life that I crave, that I want to hold on to forever. And there's nothing wrong with this because this is how God made us, especially us women. We're supposed to be attached to our people, to our kids, to our animals, to our home, to our bodies, to life on earth. But we're made of so much more than just this. And the third chakra is the mental body. And we did Eva, did we do 3? We did 3, I think, classes on the mental body. So I won't even start. Just go back. There's a lot there. And the mental body is air, and it moves up into the heart. And the heart is this really special place because it's where the first, oh, by the way, I should say this just because I went through the other 2. The third chakra of the mind, the mental body, rather, so first is everything I want to avoid, yuck. Second is everything I like and I want to keep forever, yum. This is so good. The third chakra is the way that I, in a limited perspective, see myself. In other words, my attachment to my egoic personality. And the way you can really know that someone's threatening that is how easily you get offended. Right? Like, how easily you identify with yourself as X, Y, or Z. So the third chakra is identifications. And my teacher used to say, you can really see your identities, your identifications, and there's nothing wrong with having those, right? But that's not the totality of who we are. You can really see it by how easily you get offended. Try that on for size this week. Just, oh, there's my third chakra thinking she's the only thing. And then the air moves up into the heart. And in this tantric method, it's a little different than the Hindu way of seeing the chakras. But in this tantric tradition, the heart is the energetic elementally of earth. And it's the way the earth, on a cool May morning has that dewy quality of humus, wetness. The heart is the color green. And it's that quality that we get in May or June out here in Virginia where everything is baby green, wet, new. Because the heart is the place where the emotions get a second pass, a second try again. Because the second chakra's emotion is, how does this affect me and my ego? And what I think and feel about this in regard to me. And the heart says, I want you to feel about a specific situation the way that this experience affects the everyone. The heart is the emotion that takes into account universal consciousness, the universal connectivity, the fact of our interrelatedness. So if you just take it to some example in your life, let's say you're in a fight with your husband or your partner, first you're going to feel the first chakra rage, right? Or you shut down, you go into freeze, whatever your first chakra does, your instantaneous physical reactivity to a situation. And then you're going to be like, oh, that made me really X, and I feel this, and he said that, and I can't believe it. And then if you have an ego like I do, then you're going to be offended. Seriously? Did he say that to me? Does he even know who I am? Does he know that I'm the founder of the Shakti school? No, he doesn't care. Right? And there's all this ego, and then it comes upward. And this is the place, and I'm just using a common example I'm sure we've all experienced with a romantic partnership or even your family member. Now you get into the heart, and this is where you're maybe in a gnarly fight or something, and you go, I wonder how he feels about this. Yeah. I wonder what happened to him when he was 7. Or maybe I know. I wonder what's going on in his life or stresses at work that would cause him to react this way. We begin to take the other into account in the field of the heart. And if you've ever been in a fight, and I use the example of your partner because that's where we get the most triggered, isn't it? And now you're in this little fight. And have you ever found your own heart and found some kindness and found some forgiveness and found some openness and found some freaking courage? And you go, babe, let's just breathe. I'm sorry. I overreacted. Like, it's all good. I can understand your perspective. And it dissolves the entire situation. And maybe you even start to laugh. Have you ever been in a fight and then you both start laughing because it's so embarrassingly dumb? It's because you got it up into the heart. The chakras are a digestive process on the experiences of our life. If we get caught in 1, 2, and 3, and we can't get it up into the heart, we remain energetically and emotionally juvenile. And if you, like, I enjoy, I don't know, we can psychoanalyze this later, but I enjoy politics because it's like watching Shakespeare. Yeah. And you can easily kind of get caught, right? But if you watch politics and you watch the dramas, you can see there's almost zero heart. It's all 1, 2, and 3. So if our leadership is in 1, 2, and 3, it may behoove us to ask the question, is this leadership at all? So by working with the energetics of the heart and taking that energy back, we actually, and the teachings say this, become the leaders. And science agrees. Let me share some fun science around the heart. The heart's electromagnetic field is the most powerful organ in the body. I'm going to speak about the physical heart, and that's different than the chakra, although they're enveloped in the same field. The heart's electromagnetic field is 100 times stronger than the electromagnetic field of the brain. So often we get caught in the mental body and thinking our way out of a situation when actually more powerful is to feel that heart center as its own brain. In fact, they speak of the neurons, of which you have 40,000 neurons in the heart. Like we talk about the brain, the head brain, and the gut brain, you also have a heart brain. Your heart's composed of some 40,000 neurons. And just as the brain has its nervous system pathways and patterns, so does your heart. And when we were all swimming in our mother's amniotic fluid in her womb space, it was our heartbeat, ka-gunk, ka-gunk, and the cells of our heart that actually formed prior to the cells of our brain tissue. So if we were going to make a hierarchy, the heart has been bathing the brain in its own rhythmic vibrational frequency prior to the brain bathing the heart. What science is now showing is that magnetic resonance of the heart can be measured through ECGs. We can measure it, and we can measure it on the surface of your skin. And science can now even measure it. And I think it goes way bigger than this, but science doesn't have the tools to measure it yet. We'll get there. But what we have now is the ability to measure the electromagnetic frequency of the physical heart up to 3 feet away from you. Now, the ancient teachings say that it's infinite, and that through yoga practices, tantric practices, prayer, meditation, what we do here at Shakti School and in level 1 and 2, the energy work, right? Your heart field can grow bigger and bigger and bigger. But Katie, what does this have to do with leadership? Well, politics, throw it out the window, because the heart field, the teachings say, whoever has the biggest field of the heart is the boss. She's the leader. And it's quite subconscious. When we're in the room with other human beings, we are unconsciously, like birds in a tribal situation, a flock, we are going to attune to she or he who has the most coherent heart field. coherent, and one could say big. My teacher says the biggest aura wins. And you all know this, right? Think about when you were a kid. Who had the biggest heart field in your house? That's the person that you probably felt like you wanted to go towards the most. You wanted to be around the most, and it might have been you. You might have been the cohering heart for your family. Even as young kids, we can play that role. But I also want you to consider who in your family had the most incoherent heart field. Because just as I say, we want to be around and we can tune to the coherent, big hearted, expanded heartedness, just as animals can feel this in their flocks and in their groups, humans are doing the same in a room. We can feel when someone's heart is out of coherence. And, it might be easy to say, and then we run away from them like the plague. But often we don't run away, especially if we grew up in fields that felt very similar. We might be like, why am I drawn to incoherent heart fields? And the answer is that those signatures of energy feel very familiar. The more that we get our own heart field big and robust and coherent, and we become in our own lives the biggest field in the room, it's not a competition, but the more we do that, the more we're able to, because of the grandeur and breadth of the heart, we're able to sense the incoherence in others more and more, and we're able to make the decision stay or run. And from a tantric perspective, we don't run, but we are not reacting to it. Or we're reacting, but we're able to hold it. So the heart field is incredible. The heart has, as I said, 400,000 neurons. It processes, learns, and remembers just the same as the brain processes, learns, and remembers, but it does it in its own way. Just as we cogitate with the thinking brain, the heart has its own way of processing. And when we look at the science of the heart, we see that in terms of our nervous system, this is bananas, you guys. The pathways that run information from and perception around what's happening from the heart to the brain are more than double the pathways that run from the brain to the heart and the rest of the body. The heart is sending signals to the brain, and the heart is sending signals to the gut. One could say that the heart has its own nervous system, and there's more information coming up than going down. So when we do these practices today that we will get to, we're going to be augmenting our ability for the heart to regulate the rest of the body. And more importantly, to clear out any of the detritus, we could say, in the nervous system or the heart brain that might actually be signaling the brain and the gut in directions that we don't want to go. So like a regular lady way of saying this is, if you're walking around with a ton of unforgiveness and grief in your heart, you're signaling all the time, upwards and downwards, that things are not okay. When you're walking around with rage, when you're walking around with walls up, when you're walking around with unconscious beliefs in the heart about your worth and your value, we're all doing it, by the way. So don't be like, oh my God, I have so much, right? Like we all have stuff, but it's signaling upwards and downwards that everything's not okay in Dodge. And that's why I'm so passionate about what we do in Ayurveda school, guys, because you can eat all the right Ayurveda food. You can take all the right herbs. You can get your dosha totally perfect. But if you have unforgiveness sitting on the heart, it is going to affect your gut and your digestion. It's going to affect your menstruation. It's going to affect your fertility. And so while all of those systems are quite complicated, the work that we're going to do today, especially in the second half of class around your heart and the thymus gland, which is the endocrine organ of your heart, all the chakras have an endocrine gland, and the heart's is the thymus. what we do with this gland and with this organ and with this greater energy field that encompasses it can have downstreams effect on the mental body, on the emotions, and on the physical body. So it's really powerful stuff to work with the heart. The heart, the brain, and the body, so brain and the rest of your tissues and body systems of your physical body entrain, so they go in accordance with the rhythm of the heart. So the heart is the master. It's like heart is mama and brain is daddy and gut is like grandma. Super important, right? But y'all know who runs the show. Think about Thanksgiving. It's mama, mama, right? Dad is super important. Gut, eminently important. But it's the heart that entrains the rest of the physicality. Our heart is our primary nervous system organizer. What one feels in the heart affects every other physical system and process in the body. But here's the crazy part. And it's so great that we're all here and we're going to learn this and y'all go forth and share it with the world. And that is OMG, the heart's largely unconscious material. So it doesn't matter if you say all of the affirmations. It doesn't matter if you eat, like I said, eat all the right food, or even have any of you out there ever been in a really bad mood and you're like, you know what, I'm really going to just go into like gratitude and you try to be grateful about a situation. Like, cheers, but cheers to you, right? And cheers to me when we do this. But the heart is a different level. You can't fake this funk. You have to have gratitude welling up spontaneously and authentically. That's a heartfelt emotion. And it can only be revealed by removing that which is blocking the natural gratitude flow that is your nature. The heart's realm is the realm of intrinsic brilliance, like a diamond, the teachings say. It is golden energy. The teachings say it's indescribable beauty. It's inexplicable auspiciousness. It's undeniable value. It is richness incarnate. It is the recognition of your intrinsic value that no one gave you and no one can take from you. And you don't earn it. You don't get it through meditation, and you don't get it through yoga or prayer or therapy or penance. It's indwelling. It's already there. It's already who we are. And so the heart work is just the uncovering of all these layers of dirt and dust and, my God, right? Sometimes tar, sticky ass tar that sometimes can get built up on this recognition of our beauty. So the heart is largely unconscious. It's not what we think about a situation. It's what we secretly think about a situation that we're not even aware of. It's not about what you say to yourself when you look in the mirror. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're valuable. It's what you unconsciously feel about yourself and your worth. So yes, the heart is about self-love and value, but I want to make it crystal clear. This self-valuing and self-love, which, my God, didn't Instagram ruin that term, right? Like, this is not a love that has to be earned. It can't be. It's not a love that like you add into the system or that you become. Anybody out there on a journey to try to become a better person, to become more beautiful, to become wiser, to become more spiritual, to become prettier, sexier, smarter? That's not the heart. The heart is a remembering. And this is the challenge. You don't open the heart usually by feeling how good it feels in the heart. You open the heart by feeling how not so great it feels there. So, when we were doing that meditation, did any of you feel like, I don't like this class? I don't like this teacher. I don't like this practice. This is weird. This is woo woo. Or like, my heart feels closed, or there's some heaviness, there's some sadness, there's some anger, there's some walls up. All of us are in the room today. I mean, I don't know this, but I think with some walls. There might be a few of you in the room could just be like full-blown Buddhas, but more likely you're half-baked Buddha like me, right? You're in the oven and you're cooking still. Um, the heart radiates to all the cells of your body. What you deeply feel authentically about yourself and your life, your cells are hearing that message every single day, every single breath. It's a powerful reminder to be kind and figure out all the reasons you're not. We already said that the field, it's 60 times stronger in amplitude than the electrical activity of the brain, but 100 times stronger than the magnetism. So magnetism and electrical field go together. We call it the bioelectric field, but they're different qualities. Just if you want to geek out, just for fun, I'll share with you whenever I say something negative about myself, or I have a fun little thing I do with my sister, who's also a yogini and a spirit woman. And whenever I say anything negative about myself or my life, my sister says to me, "You're crop dusting." Crop dusting is when you're spraying the field, right, of the heart with bad chemicals, right? So noticing the way that your internal dialogue, which is your third chakra, is sending information to the heart. It's a good practice. Like, what is my internal dialogue about myself and my life look like? And that's third chakra. And the third chakra feeds the heart. Remember, we go more from down to up. So we're going to work with this today, the chakra of the heart. We can just find it on ourselves. So you have your collarbones, you can feel them. And if you travel the collarbones and come just to that meeting point below them, is where most of us probably can move around, but we have our thymus gland. The thymus, we don't really think about it that often, but it's a butterfly kind of shaped gland that rests right over that lung tissue, more or less underneath the collarbones. And then if you travel your hand just slightly to the left of the center, obviously you're going to have your physical heart. And I want to do that. We're going to take a moment to just feel the thymus. Maybe it's the first time you've ever tried to locate your thymus gland. It's not something we, oh, my thymus gland. Right? But if you just kind of tap right there a little bit, and then if you move over just to the left, you can feel or sense. And sometimes if it's a very quiet moment, you can even hear the beating of the heart. So the thymus gland we'll work with in a moment, but I want to go back a second to the idea of the heart field. So if you don't know the Institute of Heart Math, it's an amazing research organization. They also sell these pretty cool heart rate variability measurement tools. I have one, and it's something you can clip onto your ear, and it measures your heart rate's variability, and you can track in real time what happens when you do the meditations that we'll do today, right? It's like a real-time tracker. And so if you're a bio nerd techie like me, I have this real geeky side that I love to bring out with the the biotechnology that can actually measure some of these, at least physiological responses. So if you have the money to purchase one, I think they're probably 100 and some bucks, but especially if you're a practitioner and can share it, it can really help new people, people that are new to this type of thing, immediately see through a measurement or a science of how you can measure this. Yeah. So here's a photo of what we call in English, we call a torus, this figure, this geometric field of our biomagnetic radiance. The heart field emits radiation, just like a microwave does, right? Your heart field emits that. And you can see this guy and the way Heart Math Institute has represented it is way more in alliance with how Ayurveda and yoga talk about your aura. We could go a little lower and a little higher, but this field, they've done a really good job at drawing out what the ancients called the perfect golden egg, right? Your energy field above you, below you. And so, guys, just imagine we think of ourselves as these little skin pockets, right? And the edge of the body is the skin. And when we understand the chakras and our energy, we can see that this is actually what your body looks like. And just as this guy has like a banging body and it's perfect, and none of us look like that, our auric fields, our biomagnetic fields that go all around us don't look like this usually. Okay. Because of number of things, right? But in terms of energy, most of us, and there are great yogis that can actually see this, but most of us have our energy field, what do you think? Behind us or in front of us? What do you think for you? Most Westerners have their energy field out in front of them because energy moves towards what you pay attention to. So we tend to focus outward. So in other words, the energy field can get quite distorted. There are a number of ways that our energy field can get distorted. And so when we do these practices like the ones we're doing today and that we've been doing all throughout these past few months, we restore, we repair, we heal, we rejuvenate, we enlarge. And as my teacher says, we give the healthy texture to the energy field. But the heart is the center of this emanation of the torus. When you can feel the magnetic thoughts, emotions affect the heart's magnetic field, which energetically affects those in our environment. Because look how big we are. So, when you're sitting on a subway with someone, by the way, different countries have different feelings of being comfortable with closeness and not. And it's not personal. It's just that the energy fields might not like being that close, or they may like being that close, but look how big we are. So we can sense the state of the heart of those who are in our environment, whether we're conscious of it or not. And so is this related to codependence? The answer is yes, right? Like we can feel what's occurring in the other. And the idea of the yogini, she who has her energy in herself, it's not that we're not affected by it, but it's that we don't let it change our own energy field. And that's the practice, right? And it's also fun to think about because this is why we enjoy being in perhaps a beautiful cathedral in Italy where people are praying. What makes the temple holy is the energy of the people that have been praying there for years. And it's also why you can go onto a subway and there's someone yelling and being mean, and the energy of everyone is uncomfortable. We're affected by one another's hearts. We aren't the only ones with an electromagnetic heart field. Our pets have their own heart field, and all life, right? Animals in particular are closest to us. This isn't woo-woo, this is science. They've measured the electromagnetic field of a horse's heart. It is 4 times the size of the human biofield. And they are now saying this is sort of the scientific, not that we needed it, but proof of something called equine therapy. Some of you are horse women and you know about this. If you don't, there's a thing called equine therapy, and it's really helpful for people with PTSD to go and, or anybody, right, to go and to just be in the presence of horses because their hearts are huge and they don't have all the egoic hangups of humans. I mean, they have their own, if you've been around horses, they do funny things. They have their own personalities, but the animal realm, typically, animals can be traumatized, but typically it's really whole. It's really healed. It's a healed state. And so if you're with and around a regulated animal, it can be really cohering for the human heart. Having a pet is really helpful. Unless your pet's freaking out all the time. That would not be a regulated animal. That would be a dysregulated animal. And my little buddy gets dysregulated every now and then. But in general, she's quite regulated. And the reason I bring that up is that I had someone I knew had a severely dysregulated animal. And man, she gave it such an attempt for almost a year, but the animal was really causing her to have emotional issues, right? She was becoming incredibly anxious. And so they had to give the animal to someone who was able to really work with them in a different way. So it's not to say all animals are going to do this, but the majority of our pets have this really coherent effect on us. I just want to highlight this for any of you out there in the room who need to hear this. And that is, if you are living consistently with someone who has a dysregulated, coherent heart space, to just really realize that's affecting us. And so my teacher would be asked, often like, well, what do we do about this, right? Is the answer, everyone leave their partner or their family, cancel your mom? And no, right? It's not to say that sometimes the answer is get out, but more often we're being called to really grow our own coherency, to grow our own capaciousness. And then from that place, we'll actually be able to, as my teacher says, feel what we feel spiritually about the situation. So there's the physical element of the heart. The gland associated with this is the thymus. And curiously, in Ayurvedic medicine, the thymus is related to the gods. In Tantric Ayurveda, we can talk about the endocrine glands as gods and goddesses. And the thymus gland is Shiva Rudra. And Shiva Rudra is a badass. Shiva Rudra is the stormy version of Shiva who destroys things. And he really weeps for you when you get, troubles in your life. And in Ayurveda, the Shiva Rudra is the thymus gland. And so it sits, as we said, in that upper part of the breastbone between the top of your lungs and above the heart. In newborns, it's about 2.5 inches long and weighs about an ounce, but it shrinks over time, beginning in the first year of your life. And when we're babies and in our infancy, the thymus gland is super important for our ojas, our immune system. It produces a type of immune cells called T cells. Some of you know about your T cells. So those are the ones that help us have that healthy immune response where we do the Shiva Rudra, right? The T cells kill cells infected with bacteria and viruses. And they also attack our tumor cells and regulate the immune system. And so, if you want to do a little research project later on deeper aspects of the thymus gland, feel free to do that. But just to summarize, Thymus gland is related to your immune system. Now, while the thymus gland does shrink after we're babies, it continues to play a vital role in our immune function. But as it comes to ojas, this is a really key space in the realm of our innate, what the Ayurveds call para ojas, P-A-R-A. It means higher level. It means innate. It means you got it when you were born from mama and daddy, and you can't get any new stuff, right? It's our karma. You were born with the 8 drops of ojas. 8 drops is what the ancient Tantra says. And the size of the drops of your 8 ojas depends on the drops of your parents. Some of you lucky ladies have big ojas drops. Some of you ladies have little ojas drops. It's just our karma. And, from a soul perspective, you chose your family and your parents, and you chose the size of your ojas. You chose this journey. So don't get mad at them, okay? But I just want to say that because it takes the pressure off. And in general, I said it 3 times for a reason. Vatas are going to have smaller ojas drops. You know it, Vata girl. And that's what makes you a freaking butterfly and a hummingbird and an artist and a healer. And guess what? The realm of the heart is most accessible to you quite often. And if you were born with that lower amount of ojas, you have to take care of it even more than others. If you were born with more kapha, you can probably get away with more because your ojas is more robust. It's not bad news, but sort of, right? It's like you got what you got. But here's the beauty, and here's the good news. The thymus gland responds to your attention. It responds to your warmth. It responds to the way you talk to yourself. The thymus gland can reignite itself. And your immunity, not over a day or a week or a year, in a millisecond, can turn on. And this is what we call spontaneous healing. The thymus gland can turn on, can reactivate, can restore. The Greeks knew what the Indians knew. The Greeks considered the thymus gland to be very important. In fact, the word thymus actually comes from the etymology of Greek, and the word for, it's not psyche, but it's a related word for our soul. The Greek medicine, which is the Ayurveda of Greece, right? By the way, the Roman Greco medicine was in constant communication with the Arabs and the Indians and the Chinese, just so you know. Oh, and the Egyptians. So let me just say that again. The Arabs, the Asians, the Africans, the Indians, and the Europeans, we were talking. You all know I love India and Indian medicine. I think let's just give it to the Indians. If it were a contest, they won. Like, I get tears because the Ayurveda is so beautifully held. But the Greeks spoke to the Indians, and the Indians spoke to the Greeks. And we have this global medicine that informed, guess what? Western allopathic medicine that is taught today in Harvard and Cambridge and all these grand universities. The roots are the roots. And in the roots, which have lasted way longer than the current paradigm, which is changing, that separates the body and the mind and the soul and the spirit, the Greeks said the seat of the soul is the thymus gland. And the thymus gland is in this innate energetic relationship with the heart. And the heart and the thymus and that immune response, remember, it's like the mama of the body, is carrying and signaling all the other organ systems. So I'm making the grand case today This place that we're meditating on today is life-changingly important work. So the symbol of heart coherence that we'll use today, it's a figure 8. Up one side, down the other. We just go right through. That's the middle of the figure 8. And if you're creative and you're going, wait, but which direction? Which direction, Katie? And the answer is yes. It goes in all directions. It goes up and down. It goes horizontally. It can go diagonally. It can go in front, behind. It's Spanda. It does go in every direction. So the fourth chakra is the green color. And in Tantric medicine, the heart's animal is the deer. And why, you may wonder? Well, you can think of millions of reasons, but what I was taught is that the deer, if I live with deer. Deer are a part of my life. In the Appalachia, they're overrun, in fact. But if you've been around a deer, they're very, very sensitive. And if one little twig you step on, a deer's ear can hear it and their head will turn and maybe they run, right? So this is a metaphor for the energy of the heart. It is sensitive, but it is also the most powerful. Krishnamacharya used to say, the more subtle, the more sensitive, the more powerful. We talked about the thymus gland and, of course, the physical heart. It's the second process on the emotional body. The emotions of the heart are those that consider the unity of all involved. Not only how this affects me, but how it's affecting everyone. It is love, but it's universal love. It's the emotional quality beyond the egoic attachments and aversions. When we talk about our chakra system, if we're going to speak in a black and white way, which can be helpful, the first 3 chakras are more worldly. And in Tantra, we love the world and we honor the world. The world is the goddess, right? But the first 3 chakras are like regular life and the capacity to perceive from the worldly, normal consciousness fields. The heart is the bridge, you guys, between the worldly and the spiritual self. The heart is the bridge. And working with the heart is how you can begin to be tantric, which means there is no separation between your worldly life and doing the dishes and going to your job and doing your practices in the world and your spiritual self. The heart is the integration ground that both differentiates the chakras, but also coheres them together so that we're being informed by the intelligence of the heart and not just the first 3 chakras. So the heart is the anahata in Sanskrit. It means unstruck sound. And it's all instrumentation needs to be plucked. A piano needs to be banged on, right? Drums need to have a stick. Trumpets need for you to push down the valves. Flutes need for you to cover the holes. All instruments need friction to work except the heart field. So the heart is the instrument that sings from herself. It is a pointing towards the birthright that is your nature, that is love, that is the heart. And this is what is radical about the heart, you all, that was not taught to me until about 6 years ago. I had learned Tantra, let's just say, in a different way. And I think this is a better way, or I wouldn't teach it. And it's intuitive and it's natural and it's Ayurvedic. And that is, the heart is a receiver. It's an input chakra. And you can remember back, and you don't have to believe me. You can remember or feel or imagine being a baby naked and laying. And where does your mother put you? She does not put you on her navel. She does not put you on her thighs. She does not put you on her throat. She lays your body on her heart. Your mother puts your heart on her heart when we're babies. And the breasts are a part of this heart field. Your nipples are a guide point. But when were born and the doctor or whoever laid you on your mother, if you were so lucky, that ignition of her heart into yours is an input receiver of love. And so if those of you who are here today may not have had that, or may not have had enough of that, or may not have had that in the first few days, or weeks, or months, or years, this is your class. And it's also a cause for celebration because you can do it for you now. Often, those of us that didn't get the perfect mothering or fathering are being called to be practitioners of the heart. Let me just say, if you had a ton of love as a kid and your heart got so full to the brim and overflowing and your mama and daddy were perfect, they don't come to yoga. They don't come to Shakti school. They're doing good. Who needs that? It's those of us that struggle with this that may not have had it. And by the way, 80% of the population didn't have it, or we didn't have enough. And now is the time where we get to do that reparenting. The core ideas of the fourth are new perspectives and dimensionality on how we see the world. First, sees everything from a place of what I don't want. Second, what I want to keep. Third, how it affects me. The fourth says, I can see from this bigger perspective. And you know you're in the thinking wisdom of the heart when the only way you see it is through the eyes of compassion. This is important. The heart's wisdom is never divisive and it's never unkind. It might say, we got to get out of here. It might say, you got to fire her. It might say, she's not your friend anymore. It might have boundaries, but it's always loving, always, even if it's putting up boundaries. One other telltale sign that you're in the heart, she's way funnier than you. She is you, but she's freaking great. She's comedic. She's the great comedian because she's the interface bridge between the worldly and God. So if you aren't funny, you haven't yet woken up your heart. And if you find yourself having a better and better and better sense of humor, your heart's getting more open. And if you don't believe me, I have a theory. And I think if your teacher or your guru isn't funny and not taking himself or herself too seriously, run. Run. The Dalai Lama is a goofball, y'all. Goofball is a sign of awakened heart. And so if you're like, I don't like comedy, I don't think anything's funny, we love you. You're welcome here, but you're in the right place. Like your heart's a little closed. The heart is free from the old conditioning and karma in the first three. I want to just say this last thing, and that is, this is so easy to talk about, and it's very courageous work to do. The heart invites us into forgiving everyone we've kicked out of our heart. And I can't speak for all of you, but what I can say is I've matured on the journey. As I've matured, I've been able more and more to see and forgive others. And usually the last one that we get to forgive is ourselves. The heart is the realm of the forgiveness that is an end result, that is natural, that is spontaneous, that occurs instantly upon what? Pure seeing wisdom, clear seeing insight. Okay, so what that means is you can't, the first three chakras you can, I'm talking from the fourth. first 3 chakras, you can say the affirmations, you can dry brush your body, you can pray, you can go to therapy, you should, all good. But here's what the first 3 chakras can try really hard, and they should. That's what their job is. The 4th chakra, you cannot force forgiveness in the heart. The ultimate level of forgiveness is an end result of having your mind changed. And by having an insight into how someone else truly feels, that's the heart, all this resentment, all this expectation, all this rage, all this anger, it just melted away because I saw that I was operating from a misunderstanding. And the extent to which you see your gold is the extent to which you can see someone else's. It's true. You can only love people as much as you've learned how to see how much you're worthy of love. That's the goal. That's the thing. Inner work. Inside job. A big special thanks to Kevin Carlisle of Goodbye Gemini, who wrote this beautiful podcast music, and to DJ Juan Pablo Jimenez in southern Spain for mixing it and making it magic.